You in this battle, man, I'll soon be dead. I'll glue your face to my dick so I can fuck with your head. I got metaphors coming through my pores. You probably never been in a battle before, so I hope you realize your mistake. There ain't no party, got some candles, this won't be a piece of cake. Plus you're fake, I can tell while I'm hotter than hell. Fuck Microsoft Word, I'm about to excel.
Folks, welcome to the Before Hours podcast. I ask the most interesting people I know about life, love, stress, setbacks, their morning routine, their schedule, whatever else comes to mind. Hosted by myself, Bobby Sheehan, an occasional morning person. And this is an internet radio phenomenon. I actually kind of screwed up the intro just now, but that's fine because we have one of the funniest people in my life in the comedy scene, and God damn it, he's a good man. Everybody, please give it up for Brandon Puff.
Hey, I'm happy to be here, Bobby.
Hell yeah, I'm hoping. I'm hoping. You know what's fucking me up is that we're recording at 8 p.m. on a Saturday, and I'm in weekend mode, baby. You know what I mean?
You're ready to party.
I'm ready to maybe have a Diet Coke at a bar and like try to talk to a woman.
Is that a definition of partying?
That
for you?
it
for
is.
you?
Yeah,
that's fine. That's perfectly fine.
I'm a regular at a bar near my street, and like Norm is, but they'll give me a Diet Coke.
Okay.
You know, so if it was Norm, if he was like less cool.
Norm, if he was like had his shit together and he wasn't really so much of a depressing figure in the show.
Yeah.
Talking about Cheers, right?
I am talking about Cheers.
Okay.
Yes. For any of our listeners that are too young to know what that show is, it's Cheers. It's Sam Malone, Ted Danson. You might know him from The Good Place, but before he was the devil in The Good Place, that's actually a spoiler if you haven't seen it. Have you seen The Good Place?
I know of it. I've seen the first episode.
Ooh.
Yeah. I kind of dabble in shows. I very rarely watch them all the way through.
Okay, and I don't think that you picked up on the spoiler I just gave out, so I think we're good.
No, although, well, I mean, I kind of know what happens in the story a little bit, you know.
See, I have a friend that when he watches a movie, like if he's going to the theater, before he goes to the theater, he reads the Wikipedia plot summary. He just likes to know how
he does that before
the movie.
Why? Does he get anxiety or something?
He's like, I like it. I like to know what's going to happen.
Do I know this friend?
No, he's not a comedian, but he is he's a history buff. That's how we're friends.
Okay.
He's a history teacher. God bless him.
Do you think that has something to do with it? The
I
fact
don't
that he's a history
know.
teacher?
I remember reading one time that have you ever read The Kite Runner?
Yes.
It's a great book.
Great book.
Of the books where a little boy gets raped, it is the best one.
When he didn't have to be. He didn't have to be. There were two people holding him down. His friend could have done something, but
I know.
I don't want to spoil too much more than that, you know, of that.
It is a great book, and the graphic novel is good too.
Is there actually
There's a graphic novel, but it's not a graphic novel, if you know what I'm saying.
Okay, it's more like Mouse or something.
Yeah.
It's like Mouse, but with Kite Runner.
I've read like I think Khalid Hosseini is his name, probably mispronouncing it, but I've read like every book he's written basically. And there's a part in the book, it's semi-autobiographical, all this stuff. Because he's an Afghan immigrant to the United States. And he describes this situation in which he goes to, this is how long ago it was. He went to like a video store, like Blockbuster or whatever. And someone said, hey, have you seen this movie? Is it good? And he goes, oh yeah, it's really good. Bruce Willis turns out to be dead the whole time. And the guy was like, what the fuck? But I guess in like Afghan culture, that's not weird. They're like,
to just spoil movies.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, you already know what happens in the movie, but like watching the movie is like I don't know. If I have any fans from Afghanistan, I doubt I do. But if I do, please write to the Before Hours podcast at gmail.com. Tell us if that's true or if I have a gross misunderstanding.
Even if it's a cultural thing, there's still like, do they not understand twists? Like, how do you deal with a twist ending if there's no twist for you?
I'm wondering if in some cultures the narrative is more like the point of the story is more important than
the way they absorb the story. Okay, I like that.
Yeah, or Khalid Hosseini is a fucking weirdo.
He could be a weirdo. I mean, he did write a whole chapter about a boy getting raped.
Yeah, that is a bit strange, isn't it?
A little bit. Yeah, and there was kite fights. Those are fun.
Kite fights.
Yeah, that actually sounds like something we should do in the States, I think.
Okay.
Because do you remember that part in the book?
There's it's like, because they battle.
Yeah, they put like shards of glass on the string and they try to cut each other's strings. Like, that's such a cool activity for a kid, right?
That is cool. Yeah, because honestly, like I was just thinking kites are gay, and then you made it.
That's so much cooler.
Yeah.
You just
cut the strings.
Yeah, cut the kite strings. Just battling.
Yeah, dude. I don't know if I've ever flown a kite, honestly.
Then how would you call it gay? Well, I mean,
I know how
you've never
judgmental
done
of
it.
me.
If you've never done it, you never flight a kite?
Well, much like many gay activities, I'm assuming I won't like
You're telling
them.
me you never flew a kite or sucked a cock? You're telling me you never did either of those? Come on, Bobby.
And by the way, if any of my listeners are gay, please tell me what flying a kite is like.
Very fun, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. Hell yeah, dude. Well, let me ask you, Brandon, and I do not know the answer to this question, though we've been friends for many years. Are you a morning person?
No, I think I'm more suited towards the night and the evening. I like staying up late, but
Mm-hmm.
I've always had a morning shift job just because I like to get my work done early, have the rest of the day.
Mm-hmm.
So I think over time I've turned into a morning person.
There you
you
go.
know?
I think that's most people's adult lives because
Yeah.
I think there's very few like morning people as teenagers,
Mhm.
but like as you know, unless you live a very
Yeah.
unusual lifestyle, you're gonna have to wake up early for work.
Yeah, I mean, there's always like the overnight shift and stuff like that, which
What's
is
the-
always weird.
Weirdest job you've had,
Weirdest job I've ever had.
or the awfulest job?
Well, I was a janitor at a truck stop for like 4 years after high school.
What?
Yeah, right after high school, I got a job at a truck stop.
They give a little boy that
A
job?
little 18-year-old boy.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to sweep things up and see rats the size of cats. And there was a lot of disgusting elements to it. I don't know how much you want me to get into.
Mm-hmm. Get into it. This
So-
is the Before Hours podcast, but let's consider this episode
Okay.
After Hours.
All right, After Hours podcast. So, yeah, I would have to clean out the urinals. And because none of the guys there would flush the urinals, the urine would calcify around the drain opening. So you had to remove it off the wall, scrape out the calcium. Worst smell you can imagine because it's like you ever had piss in a bottle
Yeah.
and then you kind of dump
drink
that
it?
out. Yeah, you drink it. Maybe it's by your bedside or something. And you dump it and just like really nauseous. And just,
Mhm.
yeah, so that's what that was. That was one thing they did. They would always fill the trash cans with piss bottles because the truck drivers are coming in their, long hour shifts. And
Ah.
yeah.
Why wouldn't they pour it down I guess they just don't have that. Why think about anybody else?
The trash cans weren't even trash cans. They were oil barrels that they just hollowed out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they were
okay.
and they had them all because it was a giant
Mhm.
facility. So you have to drive around with a forklift, empty them into a trash can in the summer, in the winter, doesn't matter.
Summer,
It's
those things must have been
terrible.
rancid. And by the way,
Yeah.
like you just said nobody flushes the urinal. Yeah,
Nobody flushed them.
it's weird.
So the piss would just sit there all day. And then there was toilet paper all over the floor. And I don't know if you've heard about this thing that truckers do. It's called a man pond. You know what a man pond is?
Wait, man like man and pond like a small body of water?
Pond like tampon.
Okay, man pond. Okay.
So if you're a driver
This
and
is going to upset me.
it should. If you're a driver and you take a big shit and then you wipe your ass, there
Mhm.
might still be some left over. So what you do is you take a little bit of toilet paper, you roll it up, and then you put it in between your cheeks to try and keep yourself somewhat sanitary, even though I think that's worse. So that's what they would do, and they would throw that into the trash cans, and then you would just dump it out. Try not to let any of them touch you. There was a
there would be
surprising amount.
multiple man ponds.
Yes, yeah. But not just of the drivers, of like the forklift operators on the dock too. They were all doing it. It
Oh,
was
so they
like-
were all like culturally
it was-
truckers.
it was like a trick of the trade. It was like, yeah, man, you just gotta put a little toilet paper up there.
Why,
and you're
why
fine.
don't you just like manage your diet so you're not constantly sharding all over your
They were
dungarees?
so gross. They
Yeah.
were a guy shit himself on his forklift one time.
Ugh.
Yeah, and he was the guy that would shit himself on the
Okay,
forklift. too.
he had big shit himself energy.
Yeah, he kind of like the rat guy from Harry Potter.
No, I must confess, I think I've watched the first Harry Potter movie 20 years ago.
That's fair. Well,
Yeah.
there's a rat guy. He looks like a rat, so
Uh-huh.
that's what that guy looked like.
Jeez.
Yeah, Rat Man. of
Rat
sorts.
man. I
Yeah.
can't do. Have you shit your pants as an adult? Feel free to plead the fifth on this one.
I have.
Uh-huh.
Have you?
No, but I remember the last time that I shit my pants. I was in first grade,
Mm-hmm.
and it was early, and I
Okay.
was sick. I felt like early. I'm like something's not right, and I as soon as I thought I should use the restroom, I just diarrheaed all over my pants. And because I was like so young, I didn't know how to deal with it. So I was like, I guess I had just have to wait until I go home. So I sat however long school is,
Mhm.
6 hours,
just for
and
shitting your pants.
just with diarrhea coated and eventually
No.
drying.
Nobody knew?
I guess, I mean, kids kind of smell. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but like shitting your pants smell and this kid doesn't take a bath smell are very different things.
I think maybe
Did you have a bad teacher?
I think maybe because I remember multiple teachers, right?
Uh-huh.
Like we would switch classes. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Like, well, this, now it's time for first grade history. So you
Okay.
need to go to the first grade history teacher. or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, of course.
But I think there were some teachers that maybe had a hunch. This is
Mhm.
I wasn't aware of this. This is what I'm guessing now.
yeah.
Is that, but if anyone if you investigate it, then it's your thing to handle.
Because now you got to deal with the kid
Mhm.
who's got shit running down his pants.
So I went home.
Yeah.
Fucking I took off my pants and my underwear and just put them next to, because that was the routine, is you'd put it next to the laundry, and then I didn't shower. I was put on new underwear.
You didn't shower?
I didn't.
Why didn't you shower, Bobby?
I don't know. I think it's like a level of denial you have as a little boy. Like, what did I think was gonna happen when
Yeah.
I left my laundry at the laundry heap?
Were you just trying to like incubate yourself from that problem for a little bit?
I think, yeah, it's like the way an ostrich puts its
Mhm.
head in the sand. Yeah. And then, but my mom came, I was playing Mario 64, of course.
Yeah.
Shout out 90s kids. And 90s kids, this one's for you. So she went.
That
she
was
goes,
Nirvana's favorite game. Oh, if you knew that.
Yeah. Smells like a little boy shit himself. That was the original name of that song.
I'm not gonna do the thing.
I have a kid. He shit his pants.
It stinks. I know he shit himself. And then he shoots himself with a gun.
To think, I mean, actually, it was around the same time. Maybe
You think there's some
might be correlation, causation.
correlation? Okay.
God damn, dude. But my mom, she was like, Robert. She called me Robert. Robert, are you okay? And I was like, yeah, mom. And she goes, did something happen in school today? And I went, no. And then that was the last we ever talked about it.
That's a cool mom.
Yeah.
That's a really cool mom.
Mhm. She let me.
Have you brought it up to her now as an adult?
No, nor have I brought up cum pillow.
You had a cum pillow? I'm loving this. This is good Bobby lore. I like the lore. It's building the empire.
I'll tell you about cum pillow. Then I do want to hear about you shitting your pants.
Sure.
But cum pillow was, no one teaches you how to jack off.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You kind of got to learn it yourself.
Yeah.
They don't like the hygiene. I had so many weird systems as like a preteen.
You just don't want to ask your parents about it is the main thing.
Right.
Like you don't have an adult you can confide in about that stuff.
No, not at all. And I remember before cum pillow, I used to, I would jizz on my own stomach and then wipe the cum off. This is like when I'm like 12, 13. I would wipe up the cum with the underwear that I was wearing and then fall asleep in my underwear that when I woke up would be crusty. That was
Same
was
as
it
me.
Brandon Puff
Yes.
too.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't wipe it. I would just pull it up and it'd be wet for a little bit.
Just so
smelly.
gross.
Yeah.
We're just gross, perverted little
Yeah,
boys.
Or did you ever just go to the shower and do it? Because I
Couldn't jack
found that
off
was
in the
easier.
shower.
No, Why
No,
not?
because for some reason, a wet pussy I could
Yeah.
come in.
Okay.
A mouth I could come in.
Okay.
If anyone's interested, let me know. But the wetness of like water in the shower,
Uh-huh.
that type of friction, I can't come. When I'm a dry. Let me see if I could say this. I'm a dry jacker offer.
Dry jack offer.
Dry.
Okay.
I'm a dry jacker.
Yeah.
if you will.
Yeah. Same
so-
as me. I've kind of developed that.
Also,
Yeah.
it was first of all, you'd have to use your mind, which is harder. Even
Yeah.
for people our age, it's like we were starting to get used to
Mhm.
like, I always had like hiding Playboys or whatever. So
Mhm.
you're in the shower, you're with your thoughts, which takes longer. And I remember one time my mom knocked on the door and she's like, Bobby. And then then you can't come.
Yeah.
And then, so
yeah.
that was the end of shower jerking.
Or you
off.
finish immediately.
Yeah.
The second you hear her voice through the door.
Yeah.
And that's the only way you can come now when you shower.
It's the only way I
Yeah,
could
so
come.
It's like
dude.
you have to rely on her to spontaneously knock on the door.
Yeah.
It's not reliable enough.
Mom, can you let me know when you're going to knock on the door to check on me?
Can you give me a 15-minute warning? I just want to use all the hot water from the boiler.
I remember one time I didn't have the shower. I would just go into the
Mhm.
bathroom and jack off, and we only have
Yeah.
one bathroom in my house, small house. And I remember I shat, and then I was like, it took me a long time to shit.
Yeah.
I can now jack off, and then no one will wonder why I was in the bathroom so long. They'll, if anyone comes in
Assume.
after me, they'll smell that I
Mm.
shat in here. Because even as a little boy, I was taking like big shits.
Yeah. Well, you were a logistical mastermind. You were putting the pieces together. How to disguise
Yeah,
your
yeah,
jack off time.
that fucking like Rain Man with the equations in the back.
Yeah.
But here's an important part of the equation, Brandon, is that if I flush the toilet
Mhm.
and then jack off, they'd be like, "What was that flush in the middle?" So I shat and then tried to jack off onto my own shit without flush. You see what I mean? Without flushing the toilet, so I wouldn't be flushing the toilet. But then I stopped
Yeah.
myself from doing that because even as a 12 or 13-year-old boy, I was like, I think this is gonna fuck me up.
Yeah.
I think if
call.
there's ever like a non-molestation way to get a scat fetish, that's
Mhm.
it.
Yeah.
That's the way to get it.
Are most scat fetishes child molestation victims?
You know what? This is
I don't know if that's. I haven't done the research on that one. Is that what the?
Sounds shitty.
Yeah, it does sounds like a bag of poop to me.
I appreciate you calling me out on that because what an unsubstantiation.
Just is everyone who's got a poop fetish got touched at one point in their childhood?
Some people are armchair psychologists. I'm whatever type of this chair is psychologist.
That's a regular chair.
regular chair psychologist.
It's a nice chair, actually. I like the
But,
little fur.
So cum pillow was after I stopped coming on my because I was like, that's gross. I'm having all this crusty underwear.
That's nasty.
You know what I mean? So my in my room, I lived in the basement of my parents' house up until I was 25.
Very nice.
And my mom had like these nice artisan pillows that were like really fancy on the top, but if you flip them over, it's just a regular pillow. So for some reason, 12, 13-year-old Bobby was like, I'm going to use one of these to come on exclusively, but I'm going to come on the back of it. So not the nice artisan part.
Yeah, of course.
So
Not
I
the
would
nice part.
I would come on the back and then it would dry and then I would put it back on the sofa.
It wasn't like one that you stole for your room and just kept hidden. You just put it back.
I just put it. Well, it was like a little. We call it a love seat for more than one reason, I guess.
Okay.
But it was like a little couch, maybe the couch about the size of this stage, like arm length couch.
Yeah.
And so that pillow was in my room, but it got so funky that eventually I started hiding it under the couch. And then I went to camp.
Yeah.
And then when I came back, cum pillow was gone, and we never spoke of it.
Your mom is she's pretty cool.
Yeah.
She's a pretty cool mom. Unless that was your dad covering for you that day.
All I know is when I came back, cum pillow was gone, and
Yeah.
a box of tissues were next to my were on my nightstand next to my bed.
Your mom's cool.
Yeah.
Your mom's cool. Sending a message without telling you
Yeah.
directly. I like it. It's very mafioso.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Instead of a headless horse in
Yeah.
my bed, it's a box of tissue. I think, was she cooler? Was she like, I'm tired of having to deal with this guy. Dude, to be a mom of a teenage
Yeah.
boy seems real stressful.
Yeah.
Just cum everywhere.
Yeah, I'm sure my mom knew because I would just jerk off in the living room and it'd be in the hot summer and there was no air conditioner most of the time. And I didn't understand that has an odor, like a very strong, recognizable odor. So she would walk in every day from coming home from the pool, and I know
Yeah.
she must have smelled that, but she never said anything.
No.
She's a good lady.
No,
She's a good
yeah,
lady.
but I mean, my parents were Catholic, but they weren't like Catholic. You know what I mean?
She
But,
didn't like
let her-
grab your penis with a pair of scissors. I'm gonna cut it off next time, Bobby. Don't do this in front of Jesus.
Wow, what a great Bobby's parents impression.
Assuming that's what your mom sounds like. Old Catholic Irish broad.
Yeah. So you shit your pants.
Yeah, as an
Not
adult.
recently, but as an adult.
It was while I was working at the truck stop.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you wanted to fit in. Did you?
Yeah, I wanted to be like,
Did you have a
"Oh,
man?
well, I guess I should use a man pun, huh? You guys sure are smart with that man pun stuff."
What was I understand? Like, okay, like truckers famously have a shitty diet, right? Like,
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen a skinny truck driver.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But I don't know if, like, I've had some fast food days, you know, where
Yeah.
I'm just eating like shit. But I've never thought I have to keep the diarrhea from coming out of my asshole.
I don't even think that was the purpose of it. I think was just because they were so overweight, some of these guys, they couldn't wipe properly. So I think the only way they could really get clean was with a shower. And I think they didn't want to get their underwear shitty, so they would just put the man pond there as like a protective barrier. That's my logic behind it, because it doesn't make sense any other way.
Oh my God. I think that's the point at which we could begin fat shaming.
Is when you start using a man pond. Do fat women just still use tampons? Just
Ooh, that's a great.
we got to talk to some female truckers.
We got. Yeah, maybe I'll get a trucker on the show. Guys, if you, okay, once again, the email, the beforehourspodcast@gmail.com, or you could DM me on Instagram, or you could DM Puff on Instagram. He'll forward the message to me. If you know a trucker,
Happily.
male or female, or anywhere in between, let me know. I'll have them on the podcast. I've been thinking about having non-comedians on the podcast.
It'll be fun. Learn about different cultures of the job world.
I have a friend who's a bodybuilder.
Nice.
That's pretty cool.
Is he gets like, he lives off of that, or?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. Well,
pretty
I
cool.
think I think he might have a part-time gig too. I think it might be as difficult to make a living as making a living doing stand-up.
Yeah. I
You
feel
know what
like
I
there's
mean?
a couple of those. There's a lot of careers that fall under that.
So how did you shit your pants?
I ate Wendy's. That's what it
That's
was.
the end of the story.
I know that. I ate Wendy's.
Uh-huh.
That's kind of it. No, but I ate Wendy's, and then I would have to take 2 buses home from my job back when I was working there. So
This is in Chicago?
This is in Chicago. Yeah, it was at a little. Can I say the name of the trucking company?
I think we have to.
Estes Express Lines. Really, really gross, terrible place. You can look it up if you look up McCook Estes Express Lines. It's in like a little shitty area of the highway in Illinois, and
Okay.
you can tell it's terrible.
This counts as part of your plug.
Yeah, exactly. It's part of my ultimate scheme here. But I had the Wendy's. My stomach started to bubble, and I was like, okay, this is fine. I can just hold it. I got to take 2 buses home. First bus kind of goes okay, and then on the second one, it's like trying to get out. It's like trying to force itself out.
Prairie dogging, as it were.
No, because it wasn't solid. It was just like,
Oh.
yeah, it was a gross, just really strange feeling.
Like
and then
your asshole was the dam and the water was coming through anyway.
Yeah, and more kept coming because my stomach was just vacating everything. It was just getting it out of there. And every bump on the bus would like shake my asshole like a gourd, and it was just trying to pop open. And I was really trying so hard not to shit my pants. I made it the entire bus ride. Then I have to walk like 15 minutes to get home. And I'm walking through this suburb to get there. And I couldn't hold it. So I just start shitting. I like stand there and I kind of like crumple down and I waited till there was almost nobody around. There was like one person with his daughter on his lawn. So I noticed and remembered that. But then it just starts coming down your pant leg and like dripping onto the ground. And then you're just like, you're walking home, and yeah, it was not a good feeling.
I'm laughing thinking about
in the
you
summer.
like standing like they're shitting and then just kind of trying to walk it off. Like, yeah, I'm actually a cool guy. All shit's coming.
It's dripping down my leg.
What's up, ladies?
Like, yes. Hey, how's it going, ladies?
Hey, where are we going tonight? Where are we going
Covered in
tonight, girls?
Cold sweat.
Yeah.
Hi, how are you, ladies?
Oh, it's such a fucking. First of all, being sick in public sucks. In general. I've thrown up a couple of times in public. Yeah.
What do you think's worse, being sick in public or crying in public? And I mean like a hard cry, like sobbing.
I don't know if I've ever cried in public.
Yeah.
I think that might be worse because I think as a man, I think that like if I started crying on the subway, I don't think everyone's immediate reaction is sympathy. I think they're like, uh-oh, crazy person.
Oh, fear. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's going to light himself on fire.
If a woman cries in the subway, she will be comforted. If a man cries in the subway,
she will.
Yeah.
She will be comforted. You're going to be okay.
Excuse me, sir. I'm trying to comfort her. Ma'am, are you comforted now?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm doing great.
Yeah, well, I didn't make her stop crying, but at least I gave her a new reason to cry. Am I right,
So I'm
bros?
better, dude.
Hell yeah, dude. I've seen women cry in the subway before, and they seem like normal. Like women just cry more. It is what it is. But I think maybe this is a weird assumption on my end. The few times I've seen a man crying on the subway, I'm like, we all might die.
Yeah. I usually imagine he's either going to try and kill himself and then injure somebody in the process, or he's going to try to kill somebody. Yeah. Well, it depends on how they look too. You know,
I'm listening. All right, keep going.
Like if he's in a suit and he's crying, he probably lost a lot of money.
Right.
But if he's like an average Joe looking guy, you know, an average Joe,
average Joe,
and he's crying, then his life is falling apart. Pieces.
You sometimes like because we both live in New York City.
Yes.
Sometimes on the subway, you almost see a homeless person like getting revved up to be crazy. It's a weird thing it's almost like, you know how singers are like, ha la 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 la. Like, I feel like homeless, that's what it looks to me. Like they'll rock and forth a little bit and they'll look around and they'll be like, ugh.
I don't know. I don't know if I've ever noticed that.
Maybe
I could see. I think I know what you're talking about, but I think they're just like that normally.
They don't.
You've seen like a guy like slowly build up and then have like a grand finale.
Yeah, recently there was a guy that came on the train and, you know, kind of dressed poorly, a bit of an odor, but it is what it is, right? But he just kind of sits there, and then they were mumbling under their breath. You know what I mean? They're doing like this thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, well, that's a now he's raised the octave of homeless. And then I think he was like, fucking bitch. To no one in
violent language.
Yeah. It's like to no one in general, just like fucking bitch.
Yeah.
And then, you know, a bunch of other words.
Other stuff that was really mean.
Yeah.
Really mean and disrespectful.
Yeah, and then I just fucking got off. You know what I mean? If I'm not in a hurry, I'll just get off if someone's like even a little bit interesting on the train. You know what I mean?
Yeah. There was some people that got really scared when I was taking the it was Long Island Railroad or New Jersey Transit. Yeah,
both awful places.
Both,
to be.
Terrible places to be. But there was a lady who was just going on like a religious rant, and she looked kind of normal.
Yeah.
But I think it was like a day or two after some terrorist attack or a shooting or some terrible atrocity that took place. So like everybody on the train was getting scared. Like, I hope nothing happens with her.
Yeah.
But I was like, she's probably fine.
Yeah.
And she was kind of fine. But then there was like another crazy guy on the other end of the train who came through. So it's like, there's so many.
So
many people are just struggling to keep their sanity together.
I know, yeah.
It's rough.
You want to like post-COVID. COVID did something to lots of people. Or at least, maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'm more maybe as I'm getting older and I'm more cognizant of like the bad things that can happen to you. You know, because when you're young, you're like, a bad thing can't happen to me. I'm me.
Yeah, I'm me. I'll never be homeless.
Yeah.
Schizophrenic or any of these other terrible things.
That's the thing. When I learned recently about first break psychosis.
What is that?
It's when you have psychosis for like the first time and there was no warning. And you could basically have, you know, the thing of like your first time having schizophrenia is usually in your late teens, early 20s, like the first psychotic break you have.
Yeah.
But you could have first break schizophrenia or any other like mental illness that causes psychosis, and it could just happen.
Just anytime, at any point in your life.
For some people, it's like accelerated by like drug or alcohol use. But for some people, it's just like, you know, your brain is like any other organ where like your the same way your appendix can like burst, your brain can just
start malfunctioning.
Yeah, no, and that's like I always when I think about how I want to die, in a hail of bullets, but
sure, as a hero,
as a
hero in a hail of bullets,
as a hero
on the beaches of Normandy, being shot by the security there.
My grandson's like, my grandfather died in Normandy. Everyone's like, I think we're too young to.
No, he started stabbing some ladies, and they had to kill him.
My last breath is like, can I still be buried in the cemetery?
that's the whole scheme, is just to get buried with World War II vets.
That's like 1,000 years later, they're like, okay, 1944, 1945, 1940. This guy died in 2024. How did that happen?
Time
And
travel.
they'll assume I'm like that Japanese guy in the island that was like the last
who
dude.
didn't know that the war was over?
Dude, I love that dude. If I could have I'm pretty sure he's dead now, but if I could
Yeah.
have anybody on the podcast, it'd be him.
I think he wrote like an autobiography about his experience.
Really?
Yeah, before he died. Or,
Dude.
like there was some ghostwriter who wrote it, but
Uh-huh.
it was apparently about his experiences on that island.
What a fucking dude. I'm the type of guy like, when I had an office job, if the boss left
Mm-hmm.
early,
Yeah.
I left like a half hour later.
Yeah.
I can't imagine continuing to be a GI 30 years later.
Well, and he was also like performing raids on the locals there.
Oh,
and, like, I
really?
think he was stealing their stuff.
Oh shit. Okay.
Because
Was it in the Philippines? Where was this?
it might have been on the islands of the
Mhm.
Philippines, one of the Asian islands.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was like kind of out in the middle of nowhere.
And what was that conversation where they're like, bro, did he think it was a psyop?
Oh, they had to get his old commander. They had to get his old like commander, the guy who gave him the orders in the first place, to like come back and be like, "War's over. You did it. You're good."
We have PlayStation now.
Yeah, but they also just forgot about this guy. I mean, I assume they thought he died, right?
Dude, and what a trip, because that was like in the 70s, right?
Yeah.
So he's like, hey, our biggest allies are South Korea and
Mhm.
the United States. He's like, excuse me? He's like, and Germany, honestly, West Germany, they're our boys too. Oh,
Yeah.
actually, they were friends.
And the Emperor of Japan has no power now.
And yeah,
None.
He took-
He's not a god.
he took a
kinda lied.
picture.
We kind of lied.
Or he's not. Sorry we told you.
It
he
was
a
just to
guy.
hype the boys up,
Yeah,
you know?
we were trying to hype the boys.
We were
up.
trying to hype the boys up a little bit.
You know what I'm saying,
Get ready
bro?
for
The
war.
guy's like so furious that he wasted his entire life.
He's probably not even angry. He's probably just distraught. So distraught.
That picture of the emperor
Mhm.
next to Eisenhower, and Eisenhower's like a full foot taller than him. It's
Yeah.
so funny.
Doesn't the
dude.
emperor also have like a cute little mustache too? And, like,
I'd
the little
imagine he
glasses?
does. Yeah,
He was a pretty cute looking guy.
we have
Yeah,
to like. That's so him and Franco, the leader of Spain,
Mhm.
were like two fascist guys that just got to. We're like, all right,
Who's Franco?
Franco was the president or prime minister of fascist Spain during World War II.
I've never even heard of that guy.
Yeah,
That's how good of a job they did.
and he got to be the leader until he died in like the 1970s.
Was there like a loosening of his power?
Yeah, I think the next I'm sure if any Spaniards are listening, they're like screaming at the misinformation I'm giving out, but I think that after him it was like normal. Like
Mhm.
they decided to do more democracy once this guy Franco died. But he's one
Okay.
of those guys like Castro,
Mhm.
very divisive, where like a lot of Cubans, especially the ones that immigrated here are like,
Yeah.
fuck Castro. But
Yeah,
then there's
yeah.
other Cubans that are like, I don't know, man, he gave me like a bunch of land or
Yeah.
and, medical care or whatever.
Mhm.
I think Franco's like that for Spaniards too. I think like more right wing Spaniards and older Spaniards are like, actually Franco's pretty cool, even though he did fascism a little bit.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, even though he was like kind of boys with Hitler, he's still
Yeah. But like how close with boys? Were they like
Mhm.
going out every weekend? or-
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good question. Were they doing Jaeger bombs?
Yeah, or
they were
were they-
doing bombs, I guess.
Were they just playing like FIFA once every couple months? You know, what level of boys were they?
Yeah, they probably weren't in the same frat.
No, definitely not.
Because
he's
in order to
German.
pledge, you have to kill like one Jew.
It's actually pretty reasonable considering, the retroscope of it all.
Yeah,
I don't know if that's a word or not.
retroscope.
Maybe.
I don't know. We'll have to look it
In
up
the big
afterwards.
picture. In the big picture.
Jamie, is retroscope a word?
Look it up.
Young Jamie's gonna pick it
Retroscope.
up for
Young
us.
Jamie.
Hell yeah, dude.
And then his grandfather, old Jamie, who they've chained into the studio next to him.
So,
Mhm.
Brandon,
Yes,
you
Brandon.
are you are you're not a morning person, but do you have a morning routine?
Somewhat. I really, it's a disgusting. It's not. No, I don't.
Dude, you folded.
Yeah,
You
well, it's like
folded
I
so
don't. I'm
quickly.
just like the more I'm gonna explain it, it's like two things. I'll get up and then I brush my teeth
Mhm.
and then I get dressed because I do everything before. Like the night before I shower, I brush my teeth, I put my
Okay.
clothes out, so I'm just ready to go.
You're ready to roll. So you're a
Yeah.
night shower.
I'm a night shower. For
Yeah,
sure.
dude,
I
we're-
can't go to sleep without a shower.
I'm like the complete opposite because
Really?
if I don't shower in the morning, I feel dirty for the entire day.
Mm.
But I guess like, do you feel dirty like going into your bed at night without showering? First?
Yeah, I get like itchy, and I don't know if that's just
Uh-huh.
like my brain doing something.
Yeah.
Or if I'm actually genuinely, but I'll like start scratching. I'm
Mhm.
just like, oh, I feel so gross and dusty. I'm a dusty ass hoe.
You feel like a dusty ass hoe when you
I
don't
feel like a
shower?
dusty ass hoe when I don't shower
Mhm.
before bed.
Yeah, I don't know. It probably, from a cleanliness perspective, it probably makes sense to shower before bed because then, like, I mean, in New York, we're like sitting on the subways, we're sitting in podcast studio chairs. Ugh, you know. Ugh.
Ew. Nasty. So gross.
The rest of the episode is just a series of gruntings from us. Real Andy Kaufman. Like, we could be the Andy Kaufman of podcasters.
Did he do a podcast like that?
I think he died before podcasting.
No, he would have been. He would have been on a podcast, I'm sure.
Okay.
Called
Hell
Mr. Kaufman.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. So, do you not eat breakfast in the morning?
No, usually I'll wait till like 9 or 10, and then I think at that point it's like lunch, right? Isn't it?
You eat lunch at 10 a.m.
Yeah, like a snack, like a little snack, like some peanut butter balls or something,
So, okay.
and not just balls of peanut. Like there's stuff in them. Peanut butter is the main component, but it's
Okay.
not just like a orb of
Peanut
peanut
butter
butter.
balls sounds like what somebody's like Confederate grandfather would eat.
He lost his teeth in the war. Now you can only eat peanut butter through a sifter. You got to strain it out for him.
I do have to eat breakfast in the morning, dude.
What's your go-to?
I eat a light breakfast because lately I've been going to the gym right like when I wake up. So I can't go like on a completely empty stomach, but I also
Yeah.
can't have like a full stomach either. So
Yeah.
I've been having like a serving of vegetables, so like either broccoli or carrots, a spoonful of peanut butter, and a hard-boiled egg, and a
Okay.
banana,
And one banana.
Yeah.
That's a pretty good breakfast.
Yeah, it's like
Salty.
it's not even 400 calories, I don't think, but it's enough to get like my and a cup of coffee, of course.
Yeah,
Are you a
yeah.
coffee guy?
Love coffee so much.
Yeah.
I used to bring my own little like coffee maker into work and then
Mhm.
just make it the slow way. Where you pour the boiling water on the
Oh,
top.
yeah.
And I was like, that's a little too much work. I'm just gonna get coffee.
Yeah.
But it was good for about a month.
Okay. Yeah, I have these little things where I'm like, I'm gonna do this every day.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this takes.
Do you like the
So-
idea of getting really into coffee? Like where you know the different beans and the soil and
No, I'm kind of white trash when it comes to coffee.
Folgers.
Folgers, Choco Nuts,
Okay.
Or
Chock full of nuts.
chock full of nuts. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my go-to. But and then I put it in a like I have a coffee maker at home,
Mhm.
and it makes a mug of coffee. Oh well, this like to-go cup,
Mhm.
but it translates into 2 mugs, and so I drink 2 mugs of coffee every
You drink
morning.
it black?
Black. Yeah, you drink it black too.
Oh yeah.
Do you know that makes us more likely to be psychopaths?
Really?
Yeah, that's I read. I was talking with Ben Kirschenbaum about this because he's also if I memory serves me, he's a black coffee guy too. And apparently, yeah, it's there's some sort of weird.
You sure it's not just like a fact that guys who drink black coffee came up with to like sound cool?
Trying to impress a woman. You're like, I have some psychopathic
Slightly more
traits.
likely to hurt you
Yeah.
because I drink black coffee
Mhm, mhm.
and manipulate you as well. That's just what us black coffee guys are like.
Yeah, I started drinking coffee in college, and I think it was hey, if I don't like drinking it black, then I shouldn't be drinking it. And then I tried it black, and I was like, I do like this.
Yeah. Have you tried other coffees without like have you done black coffee from Starbucks, from other coffee shops? Like, can
So-
you notice a taste difference?
So I would say of the big two,
Mm-hmm.
Dunkin' Donuts versus Starbucks, I'm Dunkin' Donuts
Yeah.
all day. First of all, I'm working class hero, so I kind of Dunkin' Donuts is more my vibe. It has like
Yeah.
this. It has this like fast food vibe to it. You know what
It's
I
like
mean? The bright
America
colors.
runs on it or something.
America
you know?
runs on it, dude. You know what I'm saying? Starbucks,
operating.
it's like, what am I gonna get a spray tan and
Yeah.
do crunches and
Yeah, get fucked in the ass and fly a kite.
get fucked in the ass.
So what you're gonna go do, Bob? You're gonna get your Starbucks, get fucked in the ass, and then go fly a kite.
I think that's my new fucking tough old guy to say. Why don't you go get fucked in the ass and go fly a kite?
Yeah, some just bartender in like
Mhm.
old school Jersey.
Yeah. Yeah. Queen, maybe Woodside, Queens.
Woodside, Queens.
Yeah.
It's an old school neighborhood.
I think.
Okay.
It sounds like it is, right?
Hey, Woodside.
Yeah. I was trying to think, maybe I was thinking of Bayside, Queens.
Maybe.
This is where my friend Matt's from. So
Matt
Maron, friend of the show.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Very good friend of
We're
the
gonna
show.
have him on talk about his morning routine.
Very nice.
But yeah, do you have a favorite food? Because you're not a breakfast guy.
I'm not a
But whenever you
breakfast
sit down
guy.
to eat, what's your like? If you could only eat one thing,
Oof, that's such a tough. Because
Yeah.
if you eat one thing, you're eventually going to get sick of it.
That's
no matter
true.
how much you love it. So it's
Mhm.
going to
Unless
start
it's-
off.
unless it's pussy. Am I right, fellas?
Pussy.
Fellas, am I
Unless
right?
it's-
Fellas,
unless it's
please
pussy.
answer me.
Unless it's pussy.
This might be the silliest episode I've done
It's
so
pretty
far.
silly.
I knew it was
Silly's
gonna.
fun.
We're silly billies, dude.
We're silly boys.
That's what I like about you, because you're you, and also there's this other comedian, Tickles the Clown.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And
Do you guys not get along?
No, we get along. He's been going through some stuff, man. He's been having a lot of Vietnam flashbacks lately.
I have heard that. Yeah, that
Yeah.
he's having a hard, which is weird because he seems young. He seems like your age.
Yeah, it was some weird thing where he got drafted really early and he doesn't look as old
Mhm.
as he says. It's a whole thing. Like, it doesn't make a lot of sense, but once you see the paper documents and everything, you're like, oh, okay, clearly this guy served a nom.
I've been thinking about having Tickles the Clown on the podcast. Do you think he would be amenable to it?
Yeah, but I mean, you're going to have to accommodate it. Slide whistle,
Mhm.
horn.
Mm-hmm.
There's a whole portion where he does balloon animals, and they're all kind of the same. Don't tell him that part, but yeah.
So can he do a worm?
Well, he can do his mom's brain tumor. He can. That's kind of all he can really do.
Oh, that's nice. Do
Yeah.
kids like that, to have Tickles the Clown mom's brain tumor?
They usually don't. No. Yeah. So he's been having some financial troubles too because he
Oh,
doesn't
my
get booked
God.
anymore at children's birthday. It's a whole thing.
Not getting booked, I can't imagine.
And you can't book him for like Vietnamese children's birthday parties either because he just starts
He
having even more
flips
flashbacks.
So I don't know if we know Tickle's favorite meal, but do you have a group of food?
I
You
like-
don't have to like Italian food.
Yeah, I love Italian food. Pastas are really good.
You're real paisan when it comes
Oh,
to comida.
Yeah. You know, garlic and then some thin spaghetti with olive oil and salt. That's all it really needs. That's all
Hell
it
yeah.
needs. It's nice little simple Italian food.
That is, yeah. If I want some food and I don't want to have to think about it,
Uh-huh.
then to go to an Italian place, it's like, because it's just like, how would you like your pasta done?
Yeah.
I'm sure they have other stuff.
Do you want to put chicken? Do you want to put meatballs? Do you want to put veal?
Dude, I simp for fettuccine alfredo,
Fettuccine Alfredo.
and I feel fat as I'm eating it.
Yeah, because it's like the cream is just
Mhm.
butter
Yeah,
and milk. That's really the whole sauce.
yeah.
So you're just eating a whole stick of butter in liquid form. It's been turned into like a congealed cream.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I hear white sauce is pretty popular with you kite runners. So it makes sense that would be your favorite.
I when I'm eating Alfredo sauce, and
Uh-huh.
that is not, I really mean Alfredo sauce.
Does he though? Does he, America?
America, right in. Tell me if you think I'm really talking about Alfredo sauce. But when I do,
Mhm.
I feel like I have like a slight dairy allergy, in that like it makes me have to clear my throat once I eat some dairy. Is that a thing? My dad has it too. If he's like eating like Alfredo sauce, he'll all of a sudden have to be like,
Yeah, it could be a thing. I
Mhm.
don't know. I know you can be like lactose intolerant, but I don't think it would affect your throat that way. Do you have like stomach issues after drinking
don't-
milk or anything?
I don't think so.
It could be. What do you think is in the pasta that's making you allergic then? Because
It has
maybe
to
it's
be
not the milk.
Ooh, maybe it's a gluten thing.
Could
I
be
know-
a
is
gluten
that is
thing.
that part of? Well, but I feel like I eat bread all day till the cows come home. It doesn't affect my
I don't
throat.
know, man. The body's weird.
Body is weird.
The chick I was dating, she is allergic to apples, but she
Ooh.
still eats apples. So anytime she eats an apple, her lips just get like bright red and puffed up, like she got a lip job. But she still eats apples. And I didn't know there was an allergy you could, because it's not one you hear about a lot, I guess.
Yeah, and I guess it's the reaction is so minor that she's like, "Fuck it."
Yeah, and it's so quick. It's like within minutes of eating an apple, which I guess is all
Mhm.
allergic reactions. But I
Yeah.
always thought it was more delayed than that. Like you had some time.
Now, the first time she ate an apple in front of you, is she like, "Be forewarned, this is gonna be crazy."
I thought she was joking. Yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't, because it was like, you're allergic to apples, and she's like, yeah, I'm allergic to apples, and
My-
there was no delay in eating it either.
My roommate,
Mhm.
former roommate, he was presumably still is allergic to salmon, and so much
Mm.
so that I brought salmon home one time, and he was like, "Could you just gotta get rid of that? It just
Oh,
can't even be."
He's one of those people where you
around."
can't even cook it because then the fumes
Yeah.
get into his lungs and he dies.
Yeah, and if he died, I would have to pay the full rent, which I'm not able.
Well,
I'm just not able to do.
At least you knew for a fact that he wasn't a grizzly bear in disguise. Because they love salmon.
That would be a great way to make sure that your new roommate
What
isn't
if-
secretly a grizzly bear.
What if he was just afraid of grizzly bears? And that's why you can't have salmon in the house, because you're going to attract grizzly bears. His father was mauled by a grizzly bear when he was a child. So now he just doesn't keep salmon around.
Abraham Lincoln's grandfather was killed by an Indian.
Oh. Tell me more about that. Did he talk about it a lot? Are there like letters? 407 years ago, my granddaddy got chopped in the head with a tomahawk.
Mm-hmm.
Was it like that?
I don't think so. I don't know if he ever mentioned it because for his time,
Mhm.
Lincoln was actually pretty nice to the Indians
Okay.
or the indigenous people or Native Americans, whichever you
yes.
prefer. Although some Native Americans prefer to be called Indian. Isn't that weird?
They prefer to be yelled at them. That's-
Yeah.
They prefer when they were chasing them and
Yes.
getting them off our land and back into their reservations.
I mean, I imagine there are Indians and there
Mhm.
are masochistic people. There must be both.
there's somewhere in between,
Mhm.
which is actually kind of like, have you seen porn where like the chick is into getting called slurs?
Mhm.
There's, well, I don't know if she's,
Have I seen
I don't know if
that,
she's
Brandon?
into that or if that's just what she signed up for.
Yeah, yeah. That's. She likes it. She's doing it. Why would
doing
she
it on-
participate in something she doesn't like?
She's
it?
doing it on camera.
Yeah.
I don't think she's getting paid that much. Not for me, at least.
There are guys that watch porn and they're like, this is real life. So,
Yeah. Which it's not.
No, it's not.
It's not.
So some of the BDS porn, if you watch it at the beginning and at the end, is the woman going, "This is an act.
Oh.
This is an act. Ask your partner before you punch her in the face as hard as you can."
Do you think there was an I was going to say, do you think there was an event that caused them to do that intro?
Like Jackass,
like,
where they're
yeah.
like, "Do not,
We're trained professionals.
yeah." The pornography you're about to watch are trained professionals. Please do not try to donkey punch anybody without the express
Please
concern.
don't try to build a fuck robot.
Yeah.
It ends up badly most
You know,
of the time.
I'm taking a bit of porn sabbatical,
Mhm.
Brandon, and I'll tell you why. Because I was watching. There was a porno, and it was billed as like a woman gets face fucked,
Okay.
and some guys are into that. So I clicked on the video,
Yeah.
right, but it wasn't just any face fuck video, Brandon. It was fucking. So there's you're in the forest.
This already sounds a little rough because that's just dirty.
I should say that we were joking around about how there should be warnings at the beginning of the porno. This actually did have a warning, like
Okay.
a Jackass level. Do not try this at home.
Like
warning.
text or like a person in
Text.
front, like in a tuxedo. Don't do this.
Hi, I'm Troy McClure. But it's so there's a warning, and then there's a first shot of a forest,
Uh-huh.
and in the forest there's a bucket.
Okay.
If you're only listening, you should really turn on the video and watch Brandon's fucking faces as I tell the story.
Tell me more, Watson.
So there's a bucket, and a
Mhm.
man walks over, picks up the bucket. The bucket is upside down, by the way.
Okay.
Picks up the bucket to reveal there's a woman buried to her neck, ready to get face fucked.
Just ready.
Yeah.
Did she look ready or did she look like, I don't
I mean, she looked excited, but I
Okay.
think she was acting.
Okay.
I don't think she grew up wanting, her Prince Charming to face fuck her bucket style.
Yeah, well, that was actually her first time. Was
Oh,
on
yeah,
that
she was a
photo.
virgin.
She's a virgin.
They actually didn't marry those storylines together. They didn't like lift up the bucket and she was like, "Hi, I'm Brandy and I'm only 18."
And I've never done this before, but I've been here all my life waiting for you. Just waiting for somebody to lift up this bucket so they could fuck my throat. And now you're here. There's just a wizard in the background jerking off watching. He put her there. Cornelius the Grey.
Cornelius.
That's the wizard who put her there.
Oh, I
Yeah.
see. Of course, the
Yeah,
wizard.
they gotta
that-
get me on as a writer for that porn. So then he fucks her throat.
he fucks her throat. If I was a better man, I wouldn't have kept watching. But
But that sounds. Is she like on the ground? Is she like?
she's bare, like like if you've ever been buried in the sand at the beach.
Yeah.
There's that vibe, but
So-
in just regular dirt.
So did he lay down?
Mhm.
Oh, wow. How'd they do the camera?
So
angles?
you know what? We should try to, maybe get him to do filming for the podcast.
Yeah,
That'd
get him
be,
on here. Whoever that guy was. I'm
Yeah.
sure he's proud of what he did.
And I watched that and I was like, I gotta start exercising.
Yeah.
I
So I
gotta
don't
start
know if I
eating right and drinking enough water.
So I don't end up in the ground with a bucket over my head. So some wizard doesn't take advantage of me.
They should show that in
Mhm.
Dare
yeah.
for kids.
Yeah. Just
Make the parents sign a permission slip, but be like, if,
we're going to show them some really gross porn.
Yeah.
Just to show them where their lives can go. If they're not careful.
yeah, dude, it's wild.
Yeah. Did you ever see they have like quicksand porn?
No.
That's a big thing because it was like a documentary on fetishes, and one section of it was on this particular fetish of like people into quicksand porn.
Okay.
And it's basically like these 80s blonde bombshells in bikinis sinking into artificial pits of mud and, quicksand. It's going, oh no, help me. Help. And then they eventually go under and presumably die in the porn. Like that's, I guess, the finishing part. But it was because kids would watch like adventure movies where that happened when they were like younger. And then that's what they would jack
Ah.
off to when they're adults. It was really weird.
Okay. Do you think there's going to be like the Roadrunner type porn?
What do you mean Roadrunner type? Well, that's already porn. It's already, Lola Bunny, Bugs
Mhm.
Bunny, all of it's porn.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I forgot as we were speaking that you're a bit of a alternative porn connoisseur.
Yeah, big fan of hentai. I didn't even
Mhm.
know it was a thing until I like first watched it. I was like,
Mhm.
this is pretty cool. It's pretty cool that the thing I enjoy,
Mhm.
not for the sex stuff, also has a sex version.
Mhm.
So you can watch like Yu-Gi-Oh characters. Or
Yeah. So
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Sonic the Hedgehog, everybody. Pregnant Sonic. Stinky Feet Sonic. Inflation Sonic.
This
There's
is like
so many.
this is like Bubba from Forrest Gump. You're like Bubba from Forrest Gump.
there's pregnant Sonic, and there's stink of feet Sonic, and there's inflation Sonic, there's diaper Sonic, there's butt plug ball gag Sonic, there's getting violated by Shrek while Tails watches Sonic. There's a lot of stuff out there. Yeah.
Yeah, we are actually and I know I said we'd do plugs at the end, but you are actually part of Puff and the Boys group chat.
Yeah, Puff and the Boys group
Mhm.
chat. You're also a member. I don't know why you're leaving yourself out here, bud.
So it's Puff, Brandon Puff, our guest. The namesake of the group chat. There's me, there's Mark Henley, there's Ben Miller,
Yes.
there's Joe Gorman, and there's
Yes.
Matt Marin.
Yeah, it's a good group of guys.
Yeah.
And I
Mhm.
share a lot of Sonic porn.
You do.
Yeah.
And don't think I don't appreciate it.
I'm glad you do. I always try to up the ante. So I don't share everything I find, but
Mhm.
if there's like something that I haven't seen yet,
Mhm.
something that you guys haven't seen,
Yeah.
that's what I want to share with you. Because I
Uh-huh.
know you're not actively searching for it,
I am not.
but I am. And when I find something special, I want to share it with my friends. And I appreciate you guys not putting any restrictions on that.
No.
Free speech all the way.
We're free speech
Yeah.
absolutists in that
Yeah.
group chat.
Especially when you're like asking a serious question or trying to engage in a conversation, and then I send a picture of pregnant Sonic, and then you just continue. It's so respectful. It's so, I don't feel shame.
When I used to work in an office, I would get a notification on Facebook Messenger, which is where this group chat is.
Uh-huh.
And I would always be like, all right, if it's from Puff and the Boys, I'll have to look at it later.
Yeah. I think that's fair. You got to do that with like certain group chats for
Mhm.
sure.
Oh, yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Most of the ones I'm a part of. Most of the,
Mhm.
there's not really a nice comedian group chat.
Yeah.
They devolve.
Yeah.
They devolve into some degenerate shit.
What do you think that phenomenon is then? Is it just people getting more comfortable with each other, testing limits of humor?
Yeah, I think that I actually have to kind of get used to the idea that when I'm not around other comedians,
Yeah.
that I can't talk like I talk
yeah.
when I'm with comedians,
Yeah.
Like the amount of fucking like pedophile jokes or fucking race jokes. I'm like,
Mhm.
oh no, I'm at my aunt's surprise birthday
Yeah.
party right
Yeah.
now. I have to kind of taper that off
Yeah.
for an hour.
Well, have you done that to someone and then they kind of like they go, oh, that's funny, but they're not really. You can tell they didn't enjoy that joke at all.
Puff, that happens to me constantly. I remember I was talking to like a friend of a friend, and he said, "What did he say? Oh, I work with deaf people."
Mhm.
And I went, "What's that?" And he went, he first he didn't get it. He was like, "I work with deaf people," and then as he's repeating himself, I gave a very fucking smile,
Mhm.
like ha ha, and he just fucking like rolled his eyes for a second and kept talking. But I was like, "Do you get it? Because deaf people
Yeah.
traditionally can't hear."
I'm sure none of those deaf people think he's cool.
Yeah,
they probably all think he's lame.
yeah,
Well, do you think he's heard that joke before?
that's
Remember
possible.
what it is?
But honestly, like I've heard so many fucking like ginger pube jokes or whatever, leprechaun jokes,
Yeah.
you know, about myself.
Yeah.
And I'm still happy that someone's having a nice time. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It could be at my expense. I don't give a shit. you know?
Yeah. Well,
Even if
that's the comedian angle.
I think that is true. Yeah.
you know, because
when
we
I-
were all just so used to like
Mhm.
poking fun at ourselves and having people poke fun at us.
Do you remember a situation in which you told a joke that kind of, you know,
Yeah.
maybe, oh, you're thinking of one right now?
There's one. It was at the truck stop place. 'Cause,
Okay.
I mean, when I was in high school, I was like the class clown,
Mhm.
and I was like really comfortable with just joking with anybody. Like I would just say stupid shit, and I didn't have the self awareness yet to realize that once you graduate high school and you go into the adult working world,
Yeah.
most people don't want to put up with your,
Uh-huh.
you know, they don't, which is fair. You don't want to bring that kind of energy to
Yeah.
places. But I didn't know this person. It was like my first week there, and I was just trying to be funny and, you know, make people laugh
Mm-hmm.
and make some friends. And in retrospect, it was just such a stupid fucking thing to
Mm-hmm.
say, especially of jokes you could say to somebody. I go up to him and I go, "Hey, do you want to play the rape game?" This is my first conversation with him. I didn't even talk to him before. I mean, we eventually became friends later on. And this was a joke that I heard in high school that worked with like high school boys that thought it was very funny. And I thought it was very funny. And I thought, surely this will get me a laugh. And he looked a little, you know, weirded out, and he's like, "No." And I go, "That's the spirit." And then he just walks away with his clipboard to the other end of the dock.
I'm going to stay away from that
Yeah.
little autistic boy.
Let me stay away from that autistic rape janitor.
Autistic rape janitor. Good name for a metal band, by the way.
Or a good name for like a Time Life movie.
They told him he couldn't do anything because of his disability, then clean up after people. But he found something he was passionate about and wouldn't give up until he showed the world.
And he showed the world one by one. One by one.
Actually, okay, I have a work rape story as well.
Oh,
This was wild. I can't. So I used to work retail.
Mhm.
Worked at A&P, the Great Atlantic and Pacific Tea Company, as it were. They're out of business now, but it was a supermarket chain in the Northeast.
Mhm.
And so I worked there, and I was a teenager, and there was a guy who was like a little older than me, maybe like late 20s, early 30s.
Yeah.
And he comes up to me like I'm almost ending my shift. He's about to start it. So we're like passing each other in the supermarket. And he goes, "Dude, do I have a story for you? Did you hear about what happened at fucking whatever restaurant?" And I was like, "No." And he was like, "Well," and he's like, "Wait until you hear," like a big smile on his face. He's like, "Wait until you hear about," I'm like, "This is some hot goss. Okay, I'm ready."
Okay.
And he's like, "Well, there was this woman, and she was parked at the restaurant, and a guy came out and said, 'Hey, I actually work at this restaurant, and you should park behind the building.'" And I was like, "Damn, where is this going?" And he's like, "Yeah." And they went behind the building, the woman, and he followed her, and he sexually assaulted her.
Fuck.
Yeah, I was like, "Why did you?"
Have you talked to this guy before?
Yeah, he's an otherwise normal guy. He just can't. He wanted.
You think he was the guy? Do you think he needed to just relive the fantasy for himself?
After this podcast, I have to call the police. Like, I have
Send
a
him-
tip from 2012.
Does nobody else know that story? Does it seem like he had details that only the criminal would know? Some guy in a green Corvette with a
First of all-
McDonald's cup.
A green Corvette. They wouldn't even need to know the fucking license plate number, dude. I don't know how many green Corvettes were in West Milford, New Jersey in the in the.
If you have any tips, send them to Bobby.
But it fucking the energy that he brought to that story,
Yeah.
I thought it was gonna have like a punchline, you know.
Yeah,
And instead, it was just like a sad
just fell
story.
flat.
Yeah, and it's, by the way, it's a story like your mom would tell you.
Mhm.
You know, moms always have like, did you hear that so and so, died in a freak accident?
Mhm.
And that's the whole story.
Yeah.
Like, fuck, what am I gonna do with this information?
Now, after he told you that, did you like ask more questions to try and like be okay, just move on, or did you move on immediately?
Well, I went, damn, dude, I thought you were gonna tell me a funny story, which is how I felt.
yeah.
And he's like, no, it's terrible what happened.
Every detail you reveal sounds like he did it. Just, especially the way you're saying. If that's how he said it, he definitely did it. He
You think
definitely
he was
wasn't-
testing the water to be like, if I was like, hell yeah, and he's like, you want to come with next time?
I need to watch out.
Yeah.
You can be more involved in the second time.
And I treat it like bowling. I'm like,
Mhm.
I'm not into it, but whatever I have to do
Yeah.
to make friends.
Yeah, whatever I got to do to get that promotion.
Oh my God. But I appreciate you being vulnerable in that moment of telling me when you were the
Mhm.
weird person at your
Yeah,
job.
yeah.
Dude, I'm trying to picture, as a man who's 32, if a kid out of high school upon first meeting did that joke.
No introduction though.
No, hi, I'm
I didn't-
Brandon.
I didn't go, hi, I'm Brandon. I just kind of saw him and I approached him. And I was trying to do this with it wasn't the same joke every time,
Mhm.
but I was trying to be like the funny guy with all of these men who just wanted to kill themselves every day because they've been working there for like 10 years.
Yeah, dude, I've been dealing with man ponds
Mhm.
my whole life. I don't want to hear your whimsical stories.
There was one guy there who was legitimately very funny.
Okay.
And he was like one of those guys you'd be like, oh, this guy could be a comedian.
Mhm.
And on one of my last days there, he called me over to like his truck trailer that he was loading.
Yeah.
And he's like, bring your hammer. There's something in here we got to take care of. And the second you walk in, it's just him and the other end spreading open his ass cheeks. And he's covered in hair. See his cock and balls. Good guy.
It's a very
Good
good
guy.
bit.
Shout
Probably
out,
wouldn't work
yeah.
in an office.
No, it's definitely a very trucking company situation.
There
for
is
sure.
a very, because even working retail, like there's such a difference between blue collar jobs and white collar jobs.
Yeah.
Because my supervisor at the retail job, like when
Mhm.
we were in the back room, because I didn't work the register, I was like stocking shelves.
Yeah.
He would just be like, "Hey, I have a new racist joke to tell you." You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's a good old blue collar job.
Mhm, mhm. I remember there was this one guy, because I was reading Obama's biography. I think it's Dreams of My Father.
Mhm.
While this was in, oh yeah, it must have been like 07, 08 when he was running for president.
Yeah.
And this just like a working class white guy that would work by the baler,
Uh-huh.
and he would go, "Hey, how's your friend Obama doing?" Like that was the bit, like because
a
I was
good bit.
best friends with Obama.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm not best friends with Obama, Brandon, but I will say that you are one of my best friends, and you're so funny, and I hope that people follow you on social media.
Thank you, buddy.
So can you tell
You're
people
one
where
of
they
my
can
favorite
find you?
B Puff Comedy on Instagram.
Mhm.
B Puff Comedy on Twitter.
Hell yeah,
If
dude.
you go to my Instagram, there's a link page where you can check out all my stuff.
Mhm. You're a Linktree daddy.
Linktree Daddy.
Hell yeah. Well,
Oh, yeah.
definitely check that out. Anything else you want to add to the friends?
No, just that I appreciate you. I appreciate you having me on.
Hell yeah,
And I
dude.
always love spending time with you,
I
buddy.
love spending time with you. And guys, remember, early to bed, early to rise makes a man wealthy, healthy, and wise.
Didn't you own slaves?
I'm just playing Night Owls. You know I love you.